Hi, Flosstube. It's Arlene here. It's Sunday, May 27th. This video is to talk about the retreat. So, if you're not interested in hearing about the retreat, I understand. But it's been a week since we were saying goodbyes, and I have loved seeing many people posting their videos about the retreat, and I knew that I needed to do mine this weekend. I have come back to a week where the real world has just been hitting me in the face. I've also been a little sick. Ingeborg, I think this happened to you also after your retreat. For me, it's just been a cold. It's been wearing me down from being sucker punched this week. Because when you've had an amazing weekend, like truly one of the most amazing weekends of my life, you want to hold on to that as much as possible. And you don't want to deal with the other things in your world, but you kind of have to. So, because I'm not the first wave of people posting, depending on who you watch and what videos you've gotten to, you may have seen some things about the retreat already. I just want to be able to share my pieces and my perspective, and including some of the things that I have so wanted to share for months now, that I now get the opportunity, and some of the backstory that I know some of the people at the retreat I was able to talk to about, but I know not everyone heard everything. You have seen, if you've seen any videos, and if you haven't, I should start out, if you didn't know, there was a retreat that went on last weekend that was a little kernel of an idea that started last fall. Basically, right when the Austin Flosstube retreat was happening that weekend, and seeing people that I had seen on my, this screen, this video, this screen, that video, and those people were together in the same room. And even that first day of that retreat, the videos and the posts and the live feeds, thank you, McKenna, the comments that were already coming out, this is amazing, this is so incredible. And even hearing then, what would make this even that much better is if there was a needlework store nearby. And that was the plant of a seed, because I obviously wasn't in Austin, didn't know about the existence of that one. Just a few weeks after that was going to be a Minnesota retreat that I had for about a 24-hour time period contemplated going to, and it just wasn't going to fit into my life. And it was this idea that, well, if I can't get myself to a retreat, maybe I could get, if I can't get to my people, maybe I could get my people to come to me. And that weekend, that October weekend, I was going to be up at my LNS, Needleworkers Delight, and I scoped out what hotels in the area, like literally in the immediate area, could have a retreat, have a group of stitchers come, and right near what is a very large and supportive LNS. The week after, in chatting with McKenna, I had said, well, I have this idea, and what do you think? And she said, done. I said, I'm not even sure about dates. And she said, done. I want to be a part of it. That's where it all began. I haven't talked much about retreat planning on my videos, partially because I know lots of people who watch my videos weren't going, and just respectful of all that. But here's the opportunity for me to share lots of the details that I've had to keep secret, or have only been between McKenna and I for months now. So one piece that I, was months ago, was saying to McKenna, we definitely need like a design that would be our logo, for lack of better words, that we could then have printed on things. And it could be a design that the two of us would stitch, and it could be a pattern that other people could stitch. Took a few iterations. This is what I came up with. And I still have McKenna's. The short version is and I'm going to call her out here. She had said to me more than once, well, I'm going to be going home with less stuff than I'm coming with, because she was bringing a number of things for the retreat, patterns and just things. And so she believed. And she said, and I don't have any reason to buy anything at Needleworkers because I work at an LNS. Well, let's just say on that last day, she went upstairs to pack and she came downstairs and said, yeah, I'm going to need you to send me some things because it doesn't all fit. So among the things I have to send her, I still have them a week later, partially because life and partially because I could have a couple things to show in my video. So we each stitched a version, kind of proving that a pattern could look so different and so cool in different ways, different threads, different fabric. I will say when I proposed this idea to McKenna, her first thought was, yeah, petite treasure braid, shiny, sparkly. I think she even contemplated doing it on, is it Ada that also comes with, or maybe it's linen also, the fabric that comes with shiny threads in the fabric, and then she was going to do petite treasure braid on top of that. Well, she changed her mind, and this was her version. This glass, so I'm trying to avoid the glare. A beautiful over-dyed thread, Gloriana silk. I mean, this is a perfect example of how real, like, variegated overdyes. If you've looked at a skein and you've thought, those are beautiful colors, what in the world will it look like when you put it on something? It can look stunning. I had known from the beginning that I wanted to do something more monochrome. I was using an overdyed, although I have to say the variegation, you could see a little bit of blues changing, not as much. And then I thought, as I had already started the border in this, I was originally going to just do a solid color for the letters. It needed something more, so I did beads. So we had these two out for everyone to see right when they arrived. And everyone got a copy of the pattern. And I have loved that I've seen some people posting that they have begun stitching it. It's a sweet memory. I remember once being at a museum with a friend of mine. We went to see a particular exhibit. I decided I wanted to buy the catalog of that exhibit, and I said to my friend, it wasn't so much that I loved the particular exhibit, the particular artwork. It was capturing the memory of being there with her. And she was talking about the meaning of the word souvenir. And I'm not going to quote it correctly, but I believe souvenir, its word origin is something about savoring memories. And that's what something like this is all about. And whenever you stitch, I imagine anyone who goes to any stitching retreat or any gathering, there's a memory that gets stitched in with the work that you're stitching. You will remember what you're stitching on, which just reminds me of something I forgot to bring up here, but that's okay. Excuse me. I'm going to try and get through this without cough drops, but we'll see. So, what order am I doing things in? So, people, and you might have seen this in other videos already. We had, the numbers kind of changed a little bit, even very last minute. Final total 76, was it? For a couple who, 76 I think is the number. And that becomes a number that's a little too large to kind of hand make things, although that said, I'll explain in a minute, a wonderful gift that was given for each attendee by someone. But the idea of taking a pattern like this, making a logo, and then having it printed so it could be a memory. So we have these bags made, and a mug with the logo, and a pouch, which if you have, there we go, you could see has the logo on it as well. I will just say, because I'll give a little shout out, the company I use to have these printed is called 4 Imprint, the number 4 and then imprint.com. You can find them online. I've used that company before for another thing in my world. Excellent customer service for a particular reason, which I'll get to in a minute. And I knew high quality. I knew that the quality would be great. It was not just like some shady company you find online. And they have tons of stuff. So if you ever have a need to have things printed, I mean, I think they cater to like the business world, but you're not limited just because you're not a business. You're just doing something fun and cool. And I just wanted to have things that could pretend like to be useful. A bag to carry stuff in. You could put water, which I know people use it for. You could put coffee. You could put some other beverages, which I think some people used it for. That was the idea. The other things that we put in the bag, so again, if you've seen these in other people's videos, so everyone got a copy of the pattern. And like many of my patterns, I wanted to show where the inspiration came from. That the border came from a page from a pattern book from 1532. And I love using sources like that, and that's where this came from. I wrote up a whole bunch of information for people. The people who are organizers and planners and like to know everything appreciate stuff like this. The people who are more fly by the seat of their pants kind of people may not even read this kind of stuff. But when you offer something like this, you're covering everybody. That's my theory, and that's why I wrote up like all the information on here. I know if I were attending something like this, I would want to know everyone that was there, Flosstube names, Instagram names. Not everyone made videos. It worked out about half the people who came made Flosstube videos. A lot, not everybody, but a lot have Instagram, are on Instagram. It's just part of the amazing connections that were made. Yeah, let me move into this. Part of the stories that are just wonderful to share that I couldn't share at the time, I had this idea that, so I had this idea. I knew that Needleworkers Delight would support giving us something to put in the bags. I decided I would write to thread companies and see if they would donate something. And this was some months back, and I decided I was going to try writing handwritten letters. You never know in this day and age. Because I was writing to thread companies and that there might be an appreciation for that kind of connection. On the other hand, they're businesses and they deal with internet and websites and everything. I don't know. But it was, and I'll say Doug Kreinick for the win, people, because he literally must have emailed me the day, like literally how quickly I got a response from him. It literally had to be the day he received it. And it was very cool. So Kreinick donated spools of number 4 braid and color cards for everybody. Weeks Dye Works, and these were all different. I think I decided one day to figure it out. Of the 80-something that we got, there were 60 different colors, different kinds, so really all different. Weeks Dye Works sent a floss, a pearl 5, and a pearl 8. They were all identical. The box was beautiful. To open up this box, and it's just such spring colors. Rainbow Gallery. What did I just do with? Okay. Rainbow Gallery sent, I wish I had taken a picture. Didn't occur to me. I should have. This package of 80 cards. You know, Rainbow Gallery cards come like this. And I swear they were all different, like literally different threads, different colors. I don't think there was a single repeat. So they have so many different threads and so many different colors. And, you know, I don't know if there was any trading going on, but everyone got something different, literally something different. And then Karen Collection, they sent watercolors, which is their thicker thread. It's a 3-ply thread, so it's meant to be separated like this. But I also knew it was a thread that probably not a lot of, it's a 3-ply thread. So just like DMC is 6, this is 3. But even when you do it to 3, I mean, that's like thicker than a pearl 8, about a pearl 8. They're beautiful colors. They're beautiful variegated. Again, all different or very few repeats. I knew that not a lot of cross stitchers would be familiar with it. They also sent just a general info thing about their threads, and a free pattern. And so I, made sure everyone got the information about their threads. But I also decided, so in addition to this being a stitch that I couldn't share with you over the last bit of time, decided to stitch up, here's another thing I couldn't share with you, the pattern that they gave. So this, and it could be, I literally ran out of time, but this pattern could be turned into an ornament or something. I literally just used one of the Caron watercolor threads, one ply. I used the free pattern they gave, and I used the fabric so Needleworkers Delight gave everybody a package that had, well, I need to get more to this, a booklet. There were 3 fabrics in here and a coupon to use for shopping. And this was an 18 count fabric that everyone got. So I wanted to show everyone, those who had never done anything besides cross stitch, that you could use fabric and thread and pattern that was in your bag and try something new. And I don't know if anyone did, but maybe this video might inspire someone to give it a try. And again, I have this vision of turning it into like a small, ornament hanging thing. Then needleworkers. So I've heard a few people talk about this on their videos or even, and I just want to make it clear. So Needleworkers was going to do 4 fabrics in their package, and they had asked me, is there anything in particular that I wanted? And I love Country Mocha. It's one of their printed fabrics, so it's solid on one side. It's a Zweigart fabric, and I just think it's one of those fabrics that everyone should know about as an option, because it looks like an over-dyed fabric, but it isn't. It's just a cool one to know about. So I said, oh, if you could include a Country Mocha, that would be great. Well, then when they got their last big shipment in, which was right after they came back from celebrations in New Hampshire, they either didn't get the right bolts or they got too many of the wrong bolts or blah, blah, blah. They didn't have enough of any one count of Country Mocha to include in all the packages. So they gave me 3 different sizes, 32, 36, and 40, and just said, have everyone could choose what they want. And because of the way they had sealed these, instead of sticking one in each, we left them out and said, pick what you want. And somehow I've heard people say it's to stitch the logo on. You could if you want. My logo is on Country Mocha. It is. You don't have to stitch. You could do whatever you want with your Country Mocha. So that was the 4th fabric that Needleworkers gave pieces of that are just, perfect ornament size. To go back to the 4 imprint company and to share with some of you about the poker chip that you might have seen folks sharing. So on the FaceTime with McKenna, talking about a bag, a mug, the little pouch, talking about a needle minder, because it seems like most retreats, you get a needle minder. And I'm putting in searches on their website for, I don't know, things like small objects. I don't know what searches I was putting in, and landed on poker chip. And I said, what do you think? And McKenna says, brilliant. And again, knowing that the quality of the printing would be perfect. So I get all the items. McKenna was going to do the magnets for them. So I sent the poker chips to her. This is a couple months ago. She gets them. She sits down on the day that she's going to glue one magnet on and then the second magnet. And she starts to send me these little video clips, these little 15-second clips you could send on a phone. And it's just funny because she's like, this is really weird. It's like there's a magnet inside the poker chip. So I have here a poker chip. It's got 2 magnets on it because what she discovered is that a poker chip on its own, won't attract a needle. Like this is going to fall. But it does attract magnet. And then when you have a magnet in the center, it won't, and I gotta do this. The needle won't stay, the needle won't stay in the center. It wants to attract, well, now it wants to flip to the other side. It wants to attract to the outer, I can't do this holding it up. It wants to attract to the outer core. And so she's showing these, she's showing this on a video, and I'm like, what is going on here? And she's holding it up, and even in some places the needle's falling off because it's just, even though she's got the magnet in the center, it keeps dropping down. Here, wait, let me take one of these. So this is a smaller, this is like a 28 needle. And you try to put it in the center, and it doesn't stay. There we go. It doesn't stay in the center. It does not act the way a needle minder should. So it turned into a whole lesson of magnetism. And what we discovered is that poker chips have a core, a steel core right here. It's got it's magnetized. That when you attach like a magnet like this, it's like activating the magnetism. And what's happening is that it's getting attracted to this outer edge. And if you were working on a project, you would not be happy. It's certainly not very strong there, and you can't get it to stick. It won't stay in the center. So I picked up the phone and I called 4imprint. They're so customer service focused. I didn't even know what I was doing when I called them up, but so I get to customer service and I said, I'm so happy your products came out beautiful, love the printing, everything. Here's my issue. I ordered your poker chips. I'm not using them as poker chips. I've discovered they're magnetic, and that doesn't work for what I'm using them for. And there's nothing on the description on your website that says that they're magnetic. Oh, we're so sorry. You're right. If they're magnetic, we should have just, so apologetic. And I said, I would sort of need like some store credit or something, but I already know there's nothing that's going to work. I'm really sorry about this. Oh, so apologetic. And then the word just came out of my mouth. Is there any way I could get a refund? Absolutely. If you're not happy with our products, we don't want you to pay for them. Okay, if you have any needs to order printed stuff like this, 4imprint, excellent company, people. So because they refunded the money for these, and they didn't want the poker chips back because they had no use for them, we had the money to explore other options. And long story short, I ended up getting connected with a guy who makes these wooden chips. I questioned whether or not he'd be able to get the level of detail. He made up a few of them for free for me, and I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Wood laser cutting or whatever. And so here became our needle minders, and you will see these on a number of people's projects. We also gave everyone a set of small scissors bought from an Etsy seller. Is there anything else that was in the bag? So again, you've probably seen a lot of, if you've watched other people's videos, those are a little bit of some of the backstories behind some of the things. The last couple of videos that I have made, literally right off screen, have been this pile of boxes as I've been accumulating all this stuff. And just waiting until I could get it all assembled, or rather I was going to do part of the assembling and then McKenna was going to do the other part as kind of play this all out. So again, a huge thank you to the thread companies that donated, and just loved being able to put all those kinds of things together. So to the retreat itself. It's almost like there's no words because it was just amazing. And I say that on so many levels. It was about being with people that I had not met before. And at the same time, for a number of them, it didn't feel like I was just meeting them. I'll start with McKenna. I have loved the friendship that I've built with her. And yes, a lot of it over retreat planning, but over so much more as well. She came in early. She wanted to do whatever what was I thinking back in October, proposing a retreat on a May weekend? I'm a teacher. Do you know how much stuff goes on during a school year? Do you know what teachers are doing in May? I took off that one day on Friday, but there was a lot of stuff going on that week at school. Um, so for her to come in a couple days early, for me to have what I thought was going to be a reasonable to-do list, and then I kept adding some things to it that she could just tackle in a hotel room, and was great, was wonderful. Um, but when I drove up to meet her at the airport that Tuesday, and I parked and went in, this wasn't going to be a curbside pickup, and I texted her where I was, where we were going to meet, and I'm sitting there, and there were two escalators, so I wasn't quite sure which direction she'd be coming from, and I'm just sitting there waiting, when you first meet someone who means a lot to you, and it was wonderful. And we went to Needleworkers Delight, and we were there for a while, and you might have seen she went on live Instagram, and we're sitting there next to each other, and that was, it even said to people who were there, look, we're in the same place. And the next morning, I'm up early for school, and there was an email or something. I was messaging her knowing she wasn't going to see it for a few hours, but I needed to ask her to do something retreat related. But one of the things I wrote was it all just a dream yesterday? Did we actually meet in person? So that was my first bit of amazing specialness. So let me jump to another, so now we're up to number 3 of stitching that I've been working on the last bit of time that I haven't shared. So, depending how long you've been around watching me, last summer, McKenna's shoes are sort of legendary in Flosstube world. There was a post on Stitch Mania where she was stitching, wearing her shoes, and it was just a running funny thing. And one of the comments in that post was somebody saying, I wish I could stitch those shoes. And from that, I stitched the shoes and I made a pattern, and I've offered it for free. You can still get it from me. You email me. Works. Here we go. Email me at worksbyabc@gmail.com if you are interested in getting a copy of that pattern until I get myself together and build a website and all that stuff. That's the way to do it. And you've seen this shoe before. I know it was around the holiday time, December time, I had this idea. I'm going to stitch a second shoe for McKenna, going the other opposite direction. So here, framed, you have not seen it framed before, is my original shoe. And here's the one that I've stitched for McKenna. And just a mirror image. Now found the perfect frames. This mirror, like you could even see my reflection in the mirror of the frames. A wonderful case of you really can't buy everything online, as discovered this style of frame at Michael's, discovered they came in 8x8 squares, discovered it was a line they were getting rid of, had to call around to all the Michaels in the state of New Jersey and into Pennsylvania, had to get people to look for them, blah, blah, blah. Eventually was able to get my hands on 2 of them. So, and again, I still have, this is McKenna's, I still have this one in my possession because I still need to send her stuff. So this was with beads to mimic her sparkly shoes. So the retreat days themselves, one thing that I am sad about, but it's reality, is that because of my school life, I could not have been there on Thursday as many people were arriving. We knew that half or just a little over half the people were arriving on Thursday. And so McKenna had that joy of being the official welcoming committee and greeting people. And she also did an amazing job at dealing with some of the hotel issues. By the time I got up there a little after 6 on Thursday evening after school and getting myself together, I was fully ready to just be swept up in it, and I was. We were able to get our own little space for anyone who was hanging around to have dinner right there at the hotel restaurant. Um, and it was surreal. Again, so many faces that I recognize, and not everyone makes Flosstube videos, so there was definitely an appreciation. There was a number of people who came up to me, names that I recognized from comments, um, and some that I couldn't process it all at the same time. Um, it was just amazing. Um, in some ways, I just tried to treasure every moment, and yet the days, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, just kind of flew by. I wish, sure, I could go back now and say, I wish I traveled around to more tables and sat and stitched and talked more. How did I not do more of that? I'm hearing on some people's videos about how they had great conversations, and I had some. I did. I loved the people that I got to chat with, and I just wish I chatted with more of you. Um, and there was always a side of me that is aware of, okay, I'm supposed to be in charge here. What am I looking out for? What am I thinking about? And that's just what it is. That's just that side of me. Um, I wanted to share. So Ingeborg came from the Netherlands, which was just, oh my gosh, to hug her, see her on Thursday. Again, see her on her videos all the time, perfectly natural, but yet it was the first time we were meeting in person. She stitched for me a biscornu with those are lace bobbins on there. So very personalized. She gave McKenna, I'm going to forget what she gave McKenna, but they're just such personalized gifts. She also brought me threads from her LNS, and she said that her LNS owner, that these are fine threads that I could potentially use for bobbin lace, and I will need to explore that. And then this is also silk thread that I will need to stitch something pretty special with this. Such beautiful colors. I mean, it was so interesting as different people were kind of picking something beautiful. It was, you get a little insight what color palette. Jen, Felicity Stitches, oh my God, so many people I loved being with. She's amazing on so many levels. If you have not seen McKenna's video yet, well, you need to watch McKenna's video. McKenna also captured a little part of Jen dancing in the at Needleworkers, and just the spirit of that is everything. We all cannot wait. Jen has promised a video. So Jen was the one who put out the video that says how to pack for a retreat. And I know even the StitchCon folks have referenced, go watch Jen, Felicity Stitches Jen, her video, go watch the retreat, how to pack for a retreat. Jen has promised to put out a video that is going to be how to really pack for a retreat. And step one is don't watch my first video. Can't wait for that. She made a beautiful project bag for me. Can't wait to use this. I just realized I had another gift from Lily, a beautiful bag that I forgot to bring up here. Thank you, Lily. So I want to put in here, let me preface this by saying I didn't take a lot of pictures and videos. There were some things going into this weekend that I had to let go, and I knew that. But I also, for this one thing, I knew I was totally okay. There have been things in my life, and I'm thinking in particularly school-related events that I've been in charge of, and some family events, that not only do I have to organize and be in charge of everything, I am then also supposed to be the recorder of memories that I then have to then share to everybody else. And I knew going into this that was a piece I could let go. I could savor the memories through my eyes and my ears and just in the moment, and all the recording of memories, the pictures and the videos, that by the nature of the people who were coming, that's what we do. Whether it be making Flosstube videos or being on Instagram, I was going to get what I needed. And I so appreciate everyone who has done that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, my feelings about pictures and videos and recordings have changed so much over the years. I think about when I was in college and how so important pictures were to me. I was in my group of friends, I was the one who was always taking pictures. And this is before cell phones and before the quick, a zillion pictures all at once. And one of the treasured memories or gift, if you had a list, one of the best gifts you've ever given kind of thing. I have two dear friends in college who had the same birthday. And my sophomore year, I gave them both a photo album and reprinted, I don't know, over 100 pictures, identical pictures for each of them for our first year and a half together. And they loved it because they just hadn't been doing that kind of memory record. So I'm not saying pictures don't mean anything to me, but there's something about the way pictures have evolved in these last few years where they're just selfies and picture that it's like my brain hasn't figured out how to grasp onto yet. This may not make any sense to you. I don't know. And maybe it was this complete combination of knowing I am in a room of people that got me covered, that I'm going to be able to see anything I really need to relive because there's other people taking pictures. I know the people that are going to be there. I have the self-consciousness of being in pictures, and I know there's some of me in with other people. And yes, there's a few that I wish I had been a little bit more proactive in doing pictures with, and maybe I'll make up for that at StitchCon. Okay, I got myself off here. All this to say, the people who did keeping track of the retreat by vlogging was a wonderful idea. I had one moment that I thought, ooh, what a good idea. I should start doing that. So I'm going to put in one clip here, which again may be similar to some things that you've seen from other people's videos. I'm pretty sure this was done on Friday afternoon because the room was fairly not too busy. A lot of people were shopping. And it's just a sweep of the room showing some of the things that the display table and so on. So I'm going to put that here.
So I wanted to get some video while the room is not so busy, not too loud. I'm going to start over here in the display area where there are just the amazing pieces and a number of them that you may recognize and seen from Flosstube videos. There's Jessie Marie's, we have two Frosty Knot Garden, I think I'm saying that correct. One is Jessie's, one is Deborah from Arizona. There are the two logos for the retreat, the shoes. There's Emily's piece. That's my ink circles, McKenna's piece. Here's Danielle Stitcherista, but I recognize those immediately. There's McKenna's Virtue. There's a whole bunch of pieces that I just don't know who they belong to. There's just there's Ingeborg's fish, I recognize that, and the Jane Austen piece she just finished. And then coming up next is the freebie table, which has a lot was dumped on here, a lot was taken away, but there's still an awful lot here, and not quite sure what's going to happen with all of it. I'm going to swing around. A lot of people are over at the store right now, out to lunch. I'm going to go over to this side of the room. I've over in this space set up a display of my patterns. There. And then here's Emily. Our raffle potatoes are here.
At least I hope I put that there. And then on Saturday night, we did a smalls exchange. And again, that was another piece that with the various things that I was stitching and the other things that I was putting together or assembling, like, getting everyone's name tag together and stuff like that, that you don't think about how much time that's going to take, or emails back and forth to people, or whatever. The things you don't realize the time it has taken. I could let go. If I didn't get a small stitched, that was going to be okay. So I didn't get a small stitched. I didn't participate in that way, but it was a lot of fun to watch and to be involved. So I have a small clip, because I haven't seen this in anyone's video, that we laid out all the smalls. There were 32, 33 on a table, and I just have a few seconds just so that you can see them, and I'm going to put that here.
So this is the table. You might have to try of all the smalls.
Can you not get it all to fit in?
No, I got some pictures, and I'm just like doing a quick little video scan of it. It's pretty cool.
And again, I hope I got it there. And and then the age-old, what did you stitch on at the retreat? Well, not surprisingly, I didn't stitch on much. I knew there'd be minimal stitching going on, and that's fine. I wanted to start, and I brought with me, this is one of my recent March patterns, and like, this is perfect for a retreat, because if you get words and boxes in, you don't have to look at a chart at all. Yeah, I thought, I'll have like 3 or 4 boxes ready to go. Yeah, I had 1 box, grape. And I didn't even fill in all of purple of grape. So the extent of my stitching was about 2/3 of the purple of grape. And you could see how little I've done in the weeks since. It's just been really hard to recover from this, whether just this past week, so not a lot of stitching has happened. I also did take with me my bobbin lace pillow, and I had a small project going on that, and I did just have a brief time where I was working on it, and I did that because I wanted to share. And I'm going to link below everyone that has put out Flosstube videos that I have seen about the retreat. And I may try to keep it updated at least for a few days, but so I'm a week out, and I know of at least 5 or 6 right now. And there may be more coming that talk about the retreat. And Diana, It Is Kismet, has a great, wonderful video. She actually has a clip of me doing my bobbin lace there. So if you're interested, and that's to have somebody else filming you, which is a great perspective than me trying to film myself, as I've done it a couple times here on my Flosstube. When I put her link, I'll look up the time of where in her video you could see that if you're interested. Saying goodbye to people was hard. It was saying goodbye to people, yes. It was saying goodbye to the weekend. Some of the people I will see in a few weeks at StitchCon. Some of them I won't see at StitchCon, and I want to say, well, I'll say, see you on your next video. And I want to say there will be other stitching opportunities that I will see them again. There are so many amazing memories from this and it's like I'm afraid to say anything out loud, to call out one person or one moment. Oh no, there's one in particular that I do need to say out loud. So Friday night, a bunch of us went down to the Asian restaurant that was in the hotel. And I was sitting at a table, Danielle, Stitchery on one side, and Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff on the other. And Trisha was at the table, and a bunch of other people. Someone at the table asked the question, and I don't think she made Flosstube videos, but I'm trying to remember who it is that asked. Asked the question, how'd you get started with stitching? And then also asked about how you got started doing your Flosstube videos. And Jessie is one of the original Flosstubers, which I thought I knew, but it was really helpful to like hear her story right there. But when I was sharing, I was talking about how, as I've shared here, that cross stitch is not my only, or I'll even say my predominant thing, although it certainly has become something really important in my design world. And when I did my first video, how nervous I was, whether it was, I tried to front load a lot of cross stitch in those first couple of videos because I didn't know whether I was going to be accepted, because it seemed like all the Flosstube that I could find was like all cross stitch. And would people be interested in me showing things that weren't cross stitch? And I use this phrase, was I going to be accepted into the community? And I know I've read it in the comments, and so many of you have said this in the kindest way, but there's something to be said about, in effect, both Danielle and Jessie saying in the same way. Danielle, when you put her arm around me, of course we accept you in the community, Arlene. That means a lot. It means so much. And so saying goodbye, all those goodbyes, that's what's hard, is saying goodbye to being in that environment, being with my people, as everyone has been saying. It's being with your people, being with people who get you. So many people have talked about we are mostly introverts. McKenna, we all know, not the definition of introvert. And a lot of us have a hard time peopling, being around others. But there is comfort in being with others who it's okay to not be with others. And how much I miss that. And how much I miss being in that bubble for that weekend. So it's not a surprise to me at all that sort of body kicks in and says, let's give you a cold and a runny nose and a cough, and let's throw some crap at you in the real world this week. And it's hard to recover from it. And so a lot of people have said, go to retreat if you can. Absolutely. It's an amazing, amazing experience to being in a room with others who get you. And one thing I was sharing with a dear, dear friend of mine, not a stitcher, just someone who's really important in my life, I said, I just know I've done something good for 75 people in the world, that they loved coming together like that. And that's what was most important to me. The work done, the friendships made because of it. McKenna, you mean so much to me because of this, but not just because of this, because of everything else. And it's like I just want to keep it going. So I think I need to wrap up now. Thank you for being with me and letting me share about my perspective and my part of this journey, and hearing some of the backstories. It was just simply wonderful. Till next time.